Welcome to the finely tuned infrastructure podcast by Rhythmic Technologies. Today, we're taking a deep dive into something I think a lot of folks managing cloud infrastructure deal with. It's the complexity of juggling multiple AWS accounts.
Oh, yeah. It can definitely get messy fast, can't it?
Totally.
Yeah.
It's like you've got configuration drift, resource sprawl, things just getting out of sync, not so finely tuned.
Right.
Our recent blog post actually tackled this exact challenge, and that's what we want to unpack today.
Exactly. The post looked at a really powerful combination, AWS Control Tower and AWS Account Factory for Terraform, AFT, basically.
AFT, yeah.
Think of it as, I don't know, bringing some harmony, making sure everyone's playing from the same sheet music in your AWS environment.
That's a great way to put it. And that's really our mission here for this deep dive. We want to show how Control Tower and AFT can work together, bring order using infrastructure as code.
Yeah, IAC.
Consider this like a guided tour, helping you get well-informed on managing AWS at scale, efficiently, and with real clarity.
Okay, so let's set the stage then. What exactly is AWS Control Tower? Like, what's its main job here?
Okay, right. So imagine you're, building a big housing development. Control Tower is kind of like the master plan and the building codes for your whole AWS setup.
Ah, okay.
It's an AWS service, helps you set up and, more importantly, enforce best practices, governance, security across all your accounts.
Got it.
And, crucially, it includes its own account factory. Think of that as like a standard template for spinning up new accounts quickly, but, within those rules.
And this is where it gets interesting, right? Because Control Tower has its own way to make accounts.
Uh-huh.
But for teams already using Terraform, already deep into infrastructure as code, well, that's where AFT becomes really appealing.
Exactly. It lets you leverage that IAC skill set for account management, too.
Right. So AFT kind of grabs the account creation part of Control Tower and puts a Terraform engine behind it.
Pretty much. It's all about using Terraform to streamline the whole life cycle, making accounts, setting them up, managing them, even getting rid of them later, all driven by code.
So no more clicking around in the console for every single new account request.
Hopefully not. It's defining your infrastructure, and that includes the accounts themselves as code.
And that's a big shift mentally. You're not just reacting when things get messy.
Yeah.
You're proactively defining how accounts should look from the get-go. People can request a fully set up account, compliant with standards, just by writing a bit of code.
It's that move from manual tasks to automated delivery.
Mm-hmm.
The blog post laid out the first few steps to get going. It starts at that Control Tower foundation. Then you set up these AFT repositories and then deploy the AFT root module. It's structured.
Okay, let's dig into those components a bit more. What are the key AWS services running under the hood when you combine Control Tower and AFT?
So that initial Control Tower landing zone set up the governance layer. It's still a console thing, mostly, your starting point. But when you add AFT, that's where Terraform starts orchestrating a whole bunch of AWS services.
Right, so we're talking things like DynamoDB for state.
Yep, DynamoDB for state, SQS for handling the request queues, Lambdas for, various automation bits.
Code builds.
Code pipeline. Exactly. Code build for building things. Code pipeline for the delivery pipeline for account setups, even step function state machines to handle the more complex multi-step workflows.
Wow. Okay. So it's a whole automated system built from AWS services orchestrated by Terraform.
Precisely. It's a really neat example of ISC managing not just apps, but the whole AWS account foundation itself. Like a well-oiled machine where all the parts know their role.
And the blog mentioned it's all open source on GitHub.
Yeah, the AFT part is you can go look at the code, the workflows, transparency. The post even mentioned an architecture diagram on the AFT page that helps visualize it all.
Good to know. Okay, implementation. The blog outlined 4 basic steps, though details obviously vary. What's step 1?
Step 1. Get that Control Tower landing zone set up.
Yeah.
Usually one-time thing in the console.
Right.
And the post had a good tip. You might need to briefly disable AWS config because Control Tower kind of takes it over to ensure consistency.
Ah, okay, that makes sense. Step 2, the repositories.
Yeah, step 2 is setting up those 4 AFT repositories. These are key for requesting and customizing accounts.
Okay.
You can make them yourself in GitHub, like the post mentioned, or AFT can actually create them for you in AWS Code Commit if you prefer.
Interesting. And what do these 4 repos do? Briefly.
Okay, so apt account request. That's where a request for a new account starts. Basic details.
Got it.
Then apt account provisioning customizations. This one configures the AFT management account itself. Think roles, permissions for the automation.
Okay, 2 down. Then aft global customizations and aft account customizations. What's the difference there?
Good question. Apt global customizations is for stuff you want on every single account made through AFT,
Hmm.
like baseline security settings, standard logging, that kind of thing.
Universal stuff. Okay.
Whereas apt account customizations lets you get more specific. You can define configurations for different types of accounts.
Ah, so like different setups for a dev account versus a prod data warehouse account.
Exactly. The post had that example using an account customizations name variable, maybe set to workload, which then points to Terraform code just for those kinds of accounts, maybe setting up specific VPCs or something.
That makes sense. The blog also mentioned connecting to GitHub using AWS code connections. How does that work?
Right, so Code Connections is just the AWS service that lets you securely link AWS tools, like AFT's pipelines, to external repos like GitHub or GitLab.
Okay.
It lets AFT pull the Terraform code it needs from your GitHub repo to do the provisioning and customizing.
Got it. Secure link. Okay, so landing zone done, repos set up. Step 3.
Step 3 is actually launching AFT. You apply the main Terraform root module, and you do this in the Account Factory account, the special one Control Tower made.
Okay, kickstarting the AFT engine itself.
Yeah, and again, looking at that AFT architecture diagram probably helps understand what's spinning up.
And step 4.
Step 4, as the blog cheekily put it, is profit.
Huh. Meaning you start reaping the benefits.
Exactly. The streamlined management, the consistency.
Okay, let's zoom out again. Why bother with all this? Why Control Tower and AFT?
Well, the post made a strong point. AWS itself really pushes a multi-account strategy now, even for smaller companies.
Right, for security boundaries, blast radius reduction.
All that good stuff. Better security, better resilience by keeping things separate. Principle of least privilege.
But managing lots of accounts manually, that's where the pain starts.
Oh yeah. Configuration drift is almost inevitable. Policies get applied inconsistently. Just tracking everything becomes a nightmare.
And that's where AFT, powered by IAC, really comes in.
Totally. You get a standard, repeatable process, much more control. It's auditable, less chance of human error.
Plus, Control Tower is sitting there with its guardrails, preventing things from going too far off track.
Yep. Those preventative controls are key.
The blog even had that code example, didn't it, for requesting a data warehouse account?
It did. That was really useful. It showed the Terraform code specifying account tags, who gets SSO access, even the VPC setup, all declared right there in the request module. Really highlights the customization you can bake in from the start.
Now, AFT isn't the only option Control Tower offers for making accounts, right? The post-mentioned service catalog.
Correct. Control Tower integrates natively with AWS Service Catalog. You can set up standardized account products there.
And that might fit well if you have, say, established ITSM processes, or maybe non-technical folks making requests via a portal.
Exactly. Could be a good fit for organizations with those heavy, formalized IT workflows.
But the blog seemed to lean towards AFT for many modern setups.
It did, yeah. The thinking was AFT aligns better with DevOps, it is infrastructure as code, and it's generally more flexible, especially for, say, SMBs or cloud-native orgs that might not have complex ITSM tools anyway.
More agile, maybe.
Kind of feels that way, yeah.
Right.
It scales nicely, too.
So, summing it up, what's the real-world impact here? Why should teams care?
I think it boils down to transforming account management from this manual, potentially error-prone task into something streamlined, automated, and code-driven.
Which means operational consistency, better security, less admin headache.
All of the above.
Yeah.
Seriously reduces the overhead of managing lots of accounts.
And that applies whether you have 5 accounts or 500, right? The principles scale.
Absolutely. Standardization and automation, always good things at scale.
The blog basically said AFT provides that automation foundation you need for real compliance, security, and resource management in multi-account setups today.
Yeah, moving from being reactive to being proactive through code.
So, Control Tower gives you the rules of the road, the governance,
Mm-hmm.
and AFT gives you the Terraform-powered vehicle to build and manage your infrastructure on those roads consistently and automatically.
That's a good analogy. It's a powerful combo for getting both scale and control in AWS.
Definitely something to think about.
So maybe a final thought for our listeners. Considering how complex cloud environments are getting, how could switching to an infrastructure as code approach for account management really change your day-to-day operations and your security game? Worth mulling over.
This deep dive was AI generated. For the original blog post and more information, please visit rhythmictech.com. For the original blog post and more information, please visit rhythmictech.com.